So what I'm saying is this is where nuanced perspectives come in. You can fail and be a great leader. It's 100% possible. It's more than likely nobody's going to be 100% correct. Are we talking about is failure or character though? So it's a difference between incidents, scenarios, and making a bad decision versus being a bad decision maker. And if you're consistently in a space where everything, like, it's some people who do right, and then you'd be like, damn, I see how you made that mistake. It wasn't the right way to go, but you made a mistake that's reasonable. And I see how you got to that conclusion. Or you made, you turned left when you should have turned right. We could fix this. Da, da, da. But somebody to get in the car and drive the opposite direction and refuse to turn around, that's just a failure of leadership, not just a mistake. Like, you going in the wrong direction, you fucking shit up, and you can't. There's no means to hold you accountable where you can reroute. There's nothing that can be done other than getting out the car. But in those scenarios, they got to get out the car.
Do you think most people operate that way? Because oftentimes when I see a pattern of failure, right? Sometimes the very first failure is so damn catastrophic that any attempt to try to correct it just leads to more problems. Like, I've seen where you lose a job and then you try your hardest to bounce back to the space that you was at beforehand. And this goes across the board. I've seen it happen to everyone. And just trying to correct that issue becomes a damn near a losing battle for a lot of people. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's a failure of character, because you know what I mean. And then
Sweeney,
also,
I don't understand. Can you explain what you mean by trying to? I don't understand.
So, for example,
what do you mean trying to correct becomes a losing battle? Can you?
So, for instance, I'm trying to think of a simpler way to. You ever seen somebody who lost and tried to get it back?
If they gambling, yeah, where you doubling down on bad decisions. Outside of that, like, you lose your job and you trying to work hard and you failing at working hard, nobody should be left for failing at trying to do the right thing moving forward. And it's obstacles.
But think about how people see it though. Imagine being in a relationship with somebody and you see them and they lost this job and they're trying their hardest to get that back, but that job ain't coming back. That income may not ever come back. But they're looking at that person as a consistent failure because they may be working this odd job and then they move on to this odd job and then they move on to this one, or they're stuck, or they're at this job and they're like, well, why aren't you moving forward? Why can't you get back to where you were?
No, that's why you're supposed to be a helpmate. Are you talking about a husband, or are you talking just in general?
No, but that's what I'm saying. When people look at this, is why I said that when we look at relationships and people often see themselves as the victim in a relationship or the hero in the relationship. A person who will see their husband or their wife failing at something, they'd be like, you know what I mean? That they used to be great at, and they start to fail at it. They look at them and start to shun them or find a way to let that person go for something that they may not. Is it a bit staticky? Hold on. I don't even know how to fucking fix that.
Hold on. No, just go to the point, and then just so you don't lose it though. Just go to the point, because I'm trying to understand what you're saying. The part that's catching me,
basically through the lens of other people, that person is a consistent failure, even if they're working hard to try to bounce back. A person dealing will see that person as a walk away from that marriage, and they will say, "Oh, he financially ruined the family." It's like, no, that motherfucker lost his job, but he financially ruined it because he didn't get it back. Y'all remember the girl who said that she left her husband because he wasn't fulfilling his role, and what she said was that he lost his job, and so she divorced him. Oh, he wasn't.
Wasn't she cheating on him with like his friend or something?
Oh, I don't know about all that.
That bitch was lying. She just making excuses to do what she wanted to do. I don't think that's a good example.
But we ain't, darling, never seen somebody leave someone based on the fact that they could not provide the same way that they was able to provide before. We've never seen people leave somebody for that. Are we pretending that that's not a thing?
It's a thing, but I personally haven't seen it, so I can't, like, I've heard about it, but I haven't seen that amongst my circle of people.
So I'll say, okay, Sweeney, you saying
go ahead, Marcus.
Man who creates a standard of living, right? Yep. Like, he end up leading with his money and splurging on her nonstop. He buy her S5.
Not leading with his money. No, not that. A person who We're talking about a person who lives up to the income that they have. They have a great living. They're doing just fine. Lose the job. 6 months later, there goes the house. 5 months, you know what I mean? Another 6 months later, you know what I mean? They falling into debt and things like that. And he's trying his hardest to bounce back. But once that money's gone, you done burn through your savings. You know, now all of a sudden you're 3 or 4 months behind on your mortgage, and then so on and so forth. And then the woman gets frustrated and says, "Oh, he's not doing what he's supposed to do as a man." When in reality, he's trying to do what he's supposed to do as a man, but the reality of it is he may never get that back. But that's why they say for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health. But we see people leave for poorer. We see people leave when it comes to health. We see people leave for those things that we promised that we would stay through. That's what I'm referring to.
I just think that in general, what you're talking about, that can happen. Like whole industries have crashed over 50 years, right?
Mhm.
From the automobile industry to tech going up and down, real estate's taking a hit. Like there's industries that have taken major hits, and people have lost a lot. And so I think that's a part of the ebbs and flow that you have to deal with and look forward. You're gonna have to look forward to that in a relationship and in a marriage. And that's why there's two of us. That's why we have to work together. That's why we have to, as women, if it's a man that you're talking about, that woman is there to be a helpmate. You're there to work together and work together for your family. So if that woman was a stay-at-home wife, that may be the time where she goes out into the workforce in order to create some stability until her husband can take the reins again. You do what you have to do until you get where you need to get. So this life, nothing is promised to anyone. I literally met a man in the airport. He said he was $600,000 in debt. He had a smile on his face. He said, and this situation is actually your situation, Sweeney. He said he lost his wife and his family. He said, but guess what? Nah. If you were listening to this story, he said it not one moment did he think that he wouldn't get it back plus fold. And as he was telling me the story, I believed him. And guess what? He pulled up his Instagram in the middle of this conversation. He said, if you don't believe where I am right now, let me show you. He had 6 Instagrams for 6 companies that he showed me websites and everything that this man, the lifestyle that he was living. He said the people, my friends, the people who truly knew me, stood by me and knew that I would get it back. But the reason he was $600,000 in debt was because of the industry that he was in. It took a hit, and his business took that hit, and he lost all of his business. So at the same time, his wife, who was by him, if a person loses all hope, who's in that situation, yeah, it may be hard for a person to stand next to them if they sink into a depression. But you got to know that we each are going to take falls. A woman can have a child and go through deep postpartum depression, right? Her husband has to know, dang, this isn't the woman that I married. Where's my wife? Like, what's going on? We gotta stand together and work through the valleys of our marriages, whether it's financial, whether it's mental, whether it's anything else. It's not gonna last forever.